Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rising Stories podcast. Today, I want to tell you about a very important day. For those of you who don't know me and are just joining the podcast, my name is Corrine Sandifer, and I'm the host of Rising Stories podcast. I also run the Nashville Lean In Circle, and I'm also the regional leader for Lean In Tennessee. LeanIn.org's mission is to empower women to achieve their ambitions. Lean In Circles are small peer groups that meet regularly to learn and grow together. They are a place to share ideas, gain skills, seek advice, and show solidarity. The network I run is a collection of 13 circles in the Middle Tennessee area. Our mission is to empower women to reach their highest potential at work and in their personal lives. We've been active for over 5 years now and have made noticeable strides in moving the needle towards a more equal world. I want to share some data today from LeanIn.org on the pay gap for Latina women and the implications that it has had on our futures and our families. As a Latina, this hits close to home, so I want to share more about this important day with you. November 1st is Latina Equal Pay Day. Latinas have to work all of 2017 and until this day in 2018 to catch up with what white men earn in 2017 alone. Even when you take factors like education, experience, location, and occupation into account, a large part of the pay gap remains. According to the Economic Policy Institute, Latinas are paid less than white men in the same jobs. They are also paid 53 cents for every dollar that white men earn, leading to a pay gap for Latinas of 47%. To understand why the pay gap is a crucial issue for Latinas and families, it helps to understand how the pay gap is calculated. The pay gap is calculated by gathering the median annual earnings for full-time, year-round workers and breaking it down by race and ethnicity for the given year. Then the median annual earnings for Latinas are taken as a percentage of white male earnings. People are overly optimistic about the state of Latinas. Over 4 in 10 white men think obstacles to advancement for Latinas are gone, but just 32% of Latinas agree. Nearly 62% of people who are not Latino think that racism, sexism, or both are uncommon in their company. Yet 51% of Latinas say they have experienced discrimination at work, and this was taken from a SurveyMonkey conducted on March 22nd through 27th in 2018. This really is what Latinas in the U.S. face every day, and it's holding us back from reaching our highest ambitions and our toughest goals. Many people think the gap exists because Latinas choose worse-paying jobs. A third of Americans believe the gap occurs because Latinas work in occupations that don't pay as much, and 4 in 10 white men think so. But only 20% of Latinas agree with that assessment, yet when Latinas are in the same careers as white men, they are paid significantly less. It is important, however, to note that Latinas are overrepresented in low-wage jobs and underrepresented in high-wage jobs. What is frustrating to me is that they are still paid less than white men in the exact same jobs. At this point, you're probably wondering, Corrine, what can we do to help this cause? What can I do for the Latinas that I know in my world? But I want to share a little bit more with you about some statistics, and then I'm going to talk about how to turn our awareness into action. Latinas face unique challenges in the workplace. They are subject to biases for being women and biases for being people of color. This kind of double discrimination can intensify common biases faced by Latinas, but it can only play out in distinct forms of bias not faced by women more broadly. But what is most important is that when Latina women are paid less, it impacts their ability to do things like pay for childcare, buy groceries, afford rent and tuition, all the costs that go into supporting a family. 47% counts for each and every Latina facing this pay gap, but also for their families and dependents. Lower earnings for Latinas mean less money for their families, especially since many Latinos are the main breadwinners for their household. 85% of Americans think it would be a major problem or crisis if they earned 40% less money. Yet compared to white men, Latinas face a larger pay gap every single day. This amounts to over $1 million lost over the course of a typical career. This also translates to nearly 4 years of groceries. Imagine that. So now I want to talk to you about how to turn your awareness into action. Obviously, we still have a long way to go to close this wage gap for Latina women. Many equal rights advocates are taking the lead on implementation and enforcement efforts related to the Fair Pay Act. Make sure that you vote on November 6th and tell your representatives in Congress to vote for legislation that will close the Latina wage gap. I also urge you to read the Women in the Workplace study conducted by McKinsey and leanin.org. I will put a link to that in the show notes below. You can also turn awareness into action by joining a Lean In Circle and taking strides towards a more equal world. As I mentioned before, Lean In Circles are small peer groups that meet regularly to learn and grow. They're a place where women can be unapologetically ambitious. Being in a circle has allowed me to ask for what I want and how to aim higher. Circles are where we can help each other become our very best selves. Whatever your goal, whether you're working towards a promotion or building your confidence or re-entering the workforce, Lean In Circles will help you get there. You can join our Nashville Circle with the link that I'll provide below in the show notes, or I will also add a link to the leanin.org Circles website to find a circle and network near you. Once again, don't forget to go out and vote on November 6th. And make sure that you hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss an episode of Rising Stories podcast. Thanks so much for listening and keep rising in your story.